So announcements. If you by any chance are feeling, even if you peek at the news and feeling a little bit like you don't know what to do, there's something you could do tomorrow night from 5 to 6 in Courthouse Square, which is there's a rally and a press conference sponsored by the Sonoma County Sanctuary Coalition, with local faith leaders declaring their congregations as sanctuary. Which it seems to me, I don't know this for sure, but it does seem to me that, I mean, we're in California, but still we're in the United States, that could be a pretty risky thing for some congregation, if I mean, to be saying that. So there's a list of speakers that's really quite lovely, and it's wonderful that it's both there'll be English speakers and there will be Spanish speakers, and there'll be a student speaker from the schools about ICE and the keeping the schools safe. Actually a call to action for the county, I think, asking the county to be accountable on this issue. And there'll be a ritual. Debbie made the most beautiful, look at all this beautiful cloth, and others are making it too, is at the end, we're all going to gather in a circle, and each person will tie a cloth to their neighbor's cloth, and in solidarity together. And then that circle of cloth will go from congregation and also synagogue to it'll be passed around, so that each congregation has a sense of being joined with every other. And I think we're the first Buddhists to show up in this coalition. So go us. Sorry. Anyway, I'm having fun in the midst of this is very serious business. And if you would like to come 5 to 6 o'clock, Courthouse Square tomorrow.
And wear your moccasins if you want to.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to wear. I mean, they said we could wear our vestments, so I'll get all of that up.
I have an announcement.
Yeah.
Our little friend up there, our little squirrel, I talked to Wildlife Rescue today. He's fine. He's just underweight. And so they're just trying to get him in a little bit better shape before he goes to the squirrel nursery.
The parking lot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That's good. Where's he going?
To the squirrel nursery.
Before they set him loose.
So we are fully dedicated to saving all beings. Go save a worm. Go save, I mean, whatever you do. Take care of yourselves. It's like, take care of what's in front of you. And if everybody did that, think what a world it is. So that's what we're doing. What size should the ribbons be? Kyle says. We're saying 3 feet by a couple of inches. So they will also be interspersed with, I think, yarn. So there's enough. So we are the Eightfold Path. Right view, or right orientation, as we learned. Is it Gil who said that? Right orientation. Is the Four Noble Truths. Early Pali Buddhist teaching. There is suffering. There is suffering in this human world. I was going to say duh, but I decided to do it myself. Sorry. If we know there's also great joy and beauty, but there's also, the more you know this, the more tender you get. And then you realize that there's a cause of it, and it's because we think we're separate. And I mean, we have the absolute experience of being separate beings, and then we want what we want and we don't want what we don't want. And we're really sure about this separation. But if we look deeply, I mean, even there's just moments where you just know everything is weaving and arising out of everything else and interconnected in ways that you can't even begin to grasp. Or I think it's why we go running back to our own little safe place, because what do we get, what, we might have to love everybody, and that would be really confusing. So we go back to our safe territory, but the more we know, the more we notice, the more we don't want to do that. We really understand that our happiness is entwined with everybody else's happiness. And then we want to practice, which is the Eightfold Path. And we're going to go through each of the 8. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort. I didn't think I could do it. Right mindfulness and right concentration, or right meditation. And today we're on right intention. So I'm going to read to you. I've been most enjoying this book of the Eightfold Path that is must be 8 Zen women teachers that did a commentary on each of the steps in the path. And this one, right intention, Mary Mycene, who some of you may know, I do. She calls arousing the vow of practice. I'm just going to read you her first couple of paragraphs here. The second factor on the noble path, right intention, is samyana samkalpali in Sanskrit and sama sankappa in Pali. Sanyama sama is translated usually as right, but it can also be translated as wholesome, wise, or skillful. So there's another translation of right. Wholesome, wise, or skillful. But it can also be translated, and then some kampapa, I'm sorry is usually translated as thought or intention. But it can also be translated as resolve, aspiration, or the exertion of our own will to change. Resolve, aspiration, or the exertion of our own will to change. Here's a quote from a Buddhist teacher. That right thought as that aspect of mind that is conative. Didn't know that word, conative. That is expressing effort or endeavor that requires both thinking and feeling. And he points out that it is sometimes translated as right intention. It covers only the rational thinking aspect, but also the emotional feeling aspect. This meaning is best reflected in the Chinese word jin, meaning both heart and mind. The Chinese don't separate them out, heart and mind. The unity of balance of both is important in spiritual life. Here's Venerable Sekito Buku in The Dawn of the Dhamma describes right intention as the lotus flower, which like aspiration grows out of the earth of mundane existence towards the heavens. So right intention is very much a practice for our lives. We work through the mess of our heart minds, and in the process, we find the lovely lotus flower of our liberation. Isn't that nice? But then we don't stop there, and neither does Mary, because Mary is a Zen teacher and priest. Zen describes these things a little differently. We always, what a surprise, Zazen. I know you're shocked, but Zazen, just sitting, is right intention, the expression of who we really are and of our basic nature and the nature of everything. And Zen also there are certainly vows in the Theravadan tradition, but I think there's something about the way vow is articulated in our tradition that's very, very beautiful. It begins with the Bodhisattva vow, And in the Bodhisattva vow and with the precepts, and when we take vows, I mean, if you take formal vows or hold them in your heart, what is this vowing that is at the center of our lives? And I would say it's the thing that most surprises me and brings the greatest sense of wonder after practicing all these years, is that I wouldn't have said that made any sense to me when I first started practicing vowing. And now it just feels like it's my life. It's like it's something that's bigger than me, that is me, and it's cellular, and it's the whole world, and how to express it and be it. It's home. It's the place to return to over and over again, because being also a confused human being, or a human being who's completely sure that I'm over here and you're over there, although not as solid as it used to be. But it's amazing and very humbling to watch habitual patterns that come up out of that belief. And then the vow to just come back. Oh, this is the truth. I can feel it and I know it. So, Venerable Sakito says, it seems we need to deeply vow to practice wholesome thought in order to let go of unwholesome thought and manifest the true lotus. So, and maybe I'll do this more on Thursday. Buddha describes in a sutra that I've never read. There's so many things I've never read. There's so many things to do and study. It's called the Two Kinds of Thought Sutra. And not surprisingly, the two kinds of thoughts are wholesome and unwholesome. And the wholesome thoughts are the intention of renunciation. Talk about this a little more. The intention of goodwill or loving kindness. There it is. And the intention of harmlessness or compassion. But you just remember that and just keep coming back to that over and over. That's my intention. And unwholesome is intention grounded in desire. I mean, we're human. We don't want to get rid of desire, but this desire that sets me against somebody else or something else, thinking there's not enough. An ill will or aversion, and a harmfulness. So I thought today there's something. Maybe it's even just as a way to put the two next to each other, is the language of the Eightfold Path, and then to bring forward Dogen's language about vowing. Because once you get into Dogen, it's the reason Dogen is so beautiful and so frustrating, is because you enter the realm of poetry, and you enter the realm, I mean, it is poetry in a sense of going beyond where the conscious mind can track or understand. So I brought, and I think you all have a copy or one that you could share nearby, and we're going to put it on screen. And I'm going to look for where my copy is, because I'm pretty sure it's got one here. Thank you. You guys can share. I'm going to suggest that we do this as a kind of meditation, as a kind of chant, and then we're going to go back and I'm going to go over it a little bit. But mostly I want you to enter it not through your thinking mind, but as a felt sense of Dogen's teaching us about vowing. What is it? So let's chant it together, okay? Hey, kosu hotsugamo. We vow with all beings from this life on throughout countless lives to hear the true Dharma, that upon hearing it, no doubt will arise in us, nor will we lack in faith, that upon meeting it, we shall renounce worldly affairs and maintain the Buddha Dharma, and that in doing so, the great earth and all living beings together will attain the Buddha way. Although our past
As evil karma has greatly accelerated, indeed being the cause and condition of obstacles,
practicing the way, may
may
all
all Buddhas and ancestors who have attained the Buddha way
be compassionate to us and free us from karmic effects, allowing us to practice without hindrance. May they share with us their compassion, which fills the boundless universe with the virtue of their enlightenment and teachings. Buddhas and ancestors of old were and we in the future shall be Buddhas and ancestors. We revere Buddhas and ancestors. We are one Buddha and one ancestor. Awakening Bodhi mind, we are one Bodhi mind. Because they extend their compassion to us freely and without limit, we are able to attain Buddhahood and let go of the attainment. Therefore, the Chan Master Lamya said, those who in past lives were not enlightened will now be enlightened. This life save the body, which is the fruit of many lives. Before Buddhas were enlightened, they were the same as we. Enlightened people of today are exactly as those of old. Quietly explore the farthest reaches of these causes and conditions, as this practice is the exact transmission of a verified Buddha. Confessing and repenting in this way, one never fails to receive profound help from all Buddhas and ancestors. By revealing and disclosing our lack of faith and practice before the Buddha, we melt away the root of transgressions by the power of our confession and repentance. This is the pure and simple color of true practice, of the true mind of faith, of the true body of faith. You get it? Different, isn't it? It's really different language, different entry. So let me take some of this apart a little bit. We vow with all beings, we. So a vow is, there's an I that vows, but there's this we that is vowing all the time, from this life through countless lives. We have been doing this forever. I mean, it just, and it doesn't matter whether it's Christian or Jewish or Islam, or there is this deep we vowing, the sound of the universe, to hear the truth, to hear the true Dharma, to hear the cries and the sounds of the world. That upon hearing it, no doubt will arise in us. Say something about that. Nor will we lack in faith, and that upon meeting it, we will renounce worldly affairs and maintain the Buddha Dharma, and that in doing so, the great earth and all living beings together will attain the Buddha way. We vow. So we live at this dynamic intersection of alive. That's incomprehensible. That's form and emptiness flashing in and out of existence. Life after life. We get it, but we don't get it. But I vow I really want to understand this. I really somehow want to bring my life and heart and mind into alignment with it, so that I can hear the deepest truth and be the deepest truth of being human. So that upon hearing it, no doubt will arise in us. So you may, and even maybe when we chanted this, there were some doubts arising. And you might notice that when that happens, when the thinking mind goes in there, that there's a kind of gap. It's like you're just kind of coursing along in the sound and riding the waves. And then the mind comes up and says, wait a minute, what am I saying? And what's the truth of this? I don't know if I believe this. And no, you shouldn't not do that. This isn't about accepting anything. Hi, Manny. Nice to see you. So there are in Buddhism, I've always appreciated two kinds of doubt, cynical doubt and great doubt. Cynical doubt is, I think we sort of know by the taste and the flavor of it, cynical doubt is yes, but, yeah, but. I mean, we know the feeling of it. Great doubt when it arises. It's like there's something here. I don't understand it, but I want to know more. And that's great doubt, means that you just keep asking and looking more and more deeply. And the faith is, it's not faith in something. It's not faith in some belief. It's some faith that there is something here that's bigger than any one of us, and that we know it, and that we all belong to something bigger, and always have been and always will, but we don't quite know what it is or how to grasp it. So in faith that we are Buddha, we enter Buddha's way. That's it. That's when you take vows. It's like, I don't understand what I'm doing, but there's something here in me, and I see it in others. I can see the Buddhahood in each person. I can also see, I see my own delusion. I can see it in others too. But I also know some kind of deep faith in the isness of everything, in the suchness of everything, in the just thisness of everything with no separation. It's the place where when the Buddha sat down under the Bodhi tree and touched the earth and did the earth touching vow and said, I essentially vow and affirm that I am here with and for everybody, and everybody is here with and for me. And sitting in this place, this is what I want to wake up to. So we affirm that. And that in doing so, the great earth and all living beings will together attain the Buddha way. The beautiful thing in these teachings is that we are completely in linear time and space, and this moment touches everything. So when each one of us touches the earth or touches our own hearts or reaffirms our own deep intention, it actually quickens the whole world. That's why it's so important to sit and to practice and to chant. And I mean, in whatever way you do it, and to take care of little squirrels, and to, to cut up cloth, and to do whatever we're doing out of goodness and loving kindness for the whole world. Every moment is connection. We keep affirming that over and over. Okay, so now the second part. You may have not liked the part about past evil karma. Although our past evil karma has greatly accumulated, indeed being the cause and conditions of obstacles in practicing the way, there's some of you know the phrase that we do when we do the precepts. You do a vow of renunciation, and you say, all my ancient twisted karma, from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, born through body, speech, and mind, I now fully avow. So you don't say, I'm a bad person. You don't say people are bad. You don't say this whole thing is evil, or it's just this acknowledgement of the Four Noble Truths. There is suffering, and it arises because when we think there's a separate self, that's what we keep acting out. And the verse for renunciation is just to acknowledge it, which to me, and I think you've probably heard me say this before, is for me, it just finally became this place of just saying I'm a human being. Such a relief to just say I'm a human being, and I'm trying, and I'm waking up, and I fall down, and I get up. And besides that, Dogen's telling us that all the Buddhas and ancestors across space and time are compassionate with us when we do this, and they really want to be here to help. Is that the whole world really is here to help us wake up, so that we can more and more practice without bumping into, you're over there and I'm over here and I like that and I didn't. I mean, you know, the whole gig of it. So I think part of that also is really acknowledging that the hard stuff is the whole universe helping us to wake up too. It's all this ancient twisted karma that's like appearing everywhere in the world right now. It's like, it's not this, it was always here. It's just more amplified, but it's also teaching us to be upright and to sit, to affirm loving kindness and compassion and what we're doing and how we want to live for everybody. So we keep taking the backward step. We keep touching the earth. We keep acknowledging our humanness and our humanity, and that we're all one, even when it really doesn't seem that way sometimes. So going on. We ask. It's a kind of prayer. We ask that all the Buddhas and ancestors across space and time share with us their compassion and to fill the boundless universe with the virtue of goodness. So when you do, when you take the precepts, you actually call in all the Buddhas and ancestors. It's one of my most favorite parts of this, is you just sitting there and you just think there's two people here and, you know, it's just like, yeah. And then all of a sudden you say to all the Buddha's ancestors across time and space, would you please come and help us? Mm-hmm. And I remember at a certain point having a palpable experience that they were actually here and they actually do come to help. You don't have to believe that. You could just call it goodness, or you could just say that there's a kind of warmth or a loving kindness. You could just, like Annie Lamott is, in any moment when you're feeling lost, just say, help me. That's all. Just an acknowledgement there's something bigger than you here helping you that you can call on and affirm. Because Buddhas and ancestors of old are just like us, and we in the future shall be like them. They understand. Like Lainey understands if I say help me, because Lainey understands what it is. She understands what it is to love. She understands what it is to hurt. She has a deep heart of compassion. She also has a deep part of faith because she keeps showing up over and over again. And that's what we keep affirming and seeing in each other, which is right intention. We just keep showing up, even when we don't believe it, which is a kind of dumb faith. But I always think if you can think of something else to do, do it. I've been looking for decades, and it seems to me this is as good as it's going to get, which is not so bad. Because the Buddhas and ancestors extend their compassion to us freely and without limit, we too can wake up and be them and let go of trying to get something and finally just settle into who we truly are. Does this make you happy? It actually makes me really happy. So therefore, Chan Master Long Ya said, those who in past lives were not enlightened will now be enlightened. And those who in past lives were not enlightened will now be enlightened. And in this life, save the body, take care of this body, because this body is the vessel and vehicle that you got to wake up in. And it's been happening forever and will continue to happen forever and ever. So we just enter this deep stream that's always here. And then Dogen says, quietly explore the furthest reaches of these causes and conditions. As this practice is the exact transmission of a verified Buddha. So one might say, these times that we're in, it's like, how did this happen? Where did this come from? But the causes and conditions have always been here and will always be here. And it's choice points, moment after moment after moment. Quietly exploring, like look deeply. What is this human life? And what are we doing? And what are the choices? And how are we making choices? And how did we make choices that got us to this moment? And how do our choices in this moment create the world that we all want to manifest and live in? So confessing and repenting, one never fails to receive the profound help of all Buddhas and ancestors. That's right intention. Here I am. I want to wake up. I want to be here. I want to be kind. I want to be loving. I want to be compassionate. I also know that sometimes I'm not, but that actually is a beautiful lotus in the mud, completely here. Help me remember what's true. By revealing and disclosing our lack of faith. You ever have the feeling that you just sort of fell out of faith and that you just did something kind of dumb? And then all of a sudden you remembered your faith of, I didn't really mean to do that. That wasn't what I really wanted to do. And then you just come back. And it's the same world, but it's completely different. That's how we melt away the root of transgressions by the power of our confession and repentance of just, here I am. Yes, I will. I know my deepest heart. My deepest intention is. I'll ask you that in a minute. This is the pure and simple color of true practice, of the true mind of faith, of the true body of faith, which you already got and which we already are, and which actually I really believe that everybody in the whole universe is trying to manifest and be. It's just sometimes it just looks a little confused. Okay. That's how Dogen says right intention. So what if you just get little groups of 3 and talk about, explore, what's your intention? What's your deepest, what's the pure and simple color of your true heart? Isn't that a beautiful way? What's the pure and simple color of your true heart and mind and body of faith? You say it's fine. Just have fun exploring it, okay?